How's it flying, guys? Lance Corporal Hawk 30 here, and this is gonna be an interesting video. This is JAIDEN Animations, my experience living in Los Angeles. Now, full disclosure, the only part of California that I have personally went to, outside of a quick stop at the airport, was the northern part of California, in the Redwoods area. I went on a road trip with the family from Seattle, Washington, through Oregon to Northern California, and back up through Oregon to Seattle, back to Alaska. Well, we flew back to Alaska from Seattle. But this was after I graduated high school, so 2013. You know, I have decently fond memories. There was a fun little escapade. Somebody was doing some... There was a Paul Bunyan thing with a big replica of Babe the Big Blue Ox, and for some reason people kept wanting to get pictures of the balls of the bull. Yeah. But, you know, that was a little bit of a different time. It's been 12 years since then, so a lot's probably changed. I don't know anything about how Northern California still is. I hear it's still fairly beautiful. There's a lot more sanity in that part of the state. SoCal, based on the preconceived notions that I have, you couldn't pay me to live there. No. Highest tax rates in the nation, highest gas prices, highest rent price, like, hell to the no. I would go there once for the historical stuff. I would go see the Hollywood sign. I would go to the music, the classic music stuff, like the whiskey the whiskey bar where they would, a lot of the old classic 80s rock and metal bands would go play. I would go to places like that and soak in the historical stuff, like, oh, this band I really like played here, or this studio was where they filmed this. I would go there for historical purposes and just kind of soak in the history. I would do that. I would not live there. But I'm going to avoid trying to make this a negative Nancy reaction, because this is about JAIDEN's experience. And maybe she had a positive experience there and knows some stuff. But I do know this. I think everybody can agree. Traffic sucks in LA. I haven't even been there, and I've seen just wall to wall, 4 to 6 lanes each side, going at a snail's pace. Like, So, but I am going to stop yapping. We're going to see what JAIDEN's experience was, because that's what this video is about. JAIDEN's experience, and maybe she had a good experience, and I hope she did. So, but I am going to stop wasting time and gonna go ahead and get into this reaction. So, as always, link to the original video will be in the description. Please make sure you've seen it before you watch my reaction to it. Well, let me just make sure. Okay, just didn't want it blasting full bore in my ear. With that out of the way, let us go ahead and go.
9 years ago, James and I talked about what it was like living in our home state, Arizona. I honestly don't...
Oh, crap, you're from I cannot remember if she ever said that she was from Arizona or not. But that's a neat little trivia. I know a couple people from Arizona. I know one person for sure that's from Arizona.
Remember most of what we said in that video.
Wait, no,
I tried to rewatch it as a refresher and maybe a little trip down memory lane, but turns out after 5 seconds I'd rather be guillotined. No, eyes on me. You clicked on this video, you're staying on this video. No funny ideas, alright? The other day I was in a...
You can't tell me what to do!
store trying to buy a plain black shirt that was locked up behind those stupid box lockers, so I had to ring an employee for a single shirt. A few minutes later, someone came by. All right, what can I... Oh my gosh, are you JAIDEN Animations? Yeah. No way, I love your videos. Can I get a photo? Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks so much. I
Positive
didn't
experience.
expect to see you here. Are you visiting? Oh, no, I live here. You're not in Arizona anymore? And that's when it dawned on me, there is a giant portion of my audience who will not get updated on some parts of my life if I don't explicitly say it in one of my animations. Also, the guy... I left without unlocking the box, so I had to wait another 5 minutes for him to come back and get the shirt. So
I mean, that do be how it is sometimes. Like, not all of us are just absolutely fascinated with every facet of somebody's life. We don't go diving into somebody's life and, you know, explore every facet. Like, oh, this person just moved from this state to this state. I'm going to make my trek there now. You know, stuff like that. No, not all of us are insane loons that only do that. And so these videos are ways for us to know, okay, yeah, this person is now moved. Okay, so... All right.
Oh yeah, to anyone who didn't get the memo, I've been in California for the past 6.5 years, specifically Los Angeles. I honestly can't believe it's been that long already, because that means for the past 6.5 years, I've been doing nothing but complaining about it the entire time. I believe in the compliment sandwich system though. Not everything about moving to California has been bad. For example, the weather is great. It's always sunny, which, you know, Arizona is too, but like, in a bad way. California doesn't hit the casual 118 everything outside melts and dies degrees like back home. It's vacation weather all the time. I like that part.
Yeah, what else?
The drivers here are assholes.
Knew something about the driving was gonna come up. I have never, the worst city I've ever personally driven in. This is my understanding. You've got a kind of a tier list. Well, you've got kind of a handful of cities where you just know the driving is horrible. You are stressed every second. You are behind the wheel because it's just, no, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. Let me get out alive. Please, God, let me out alive. Oh, no, I missed my exit. I'm gonna die here. Los Angeles is one of those. Atlanta, Georgia is another. I was going to a Sabaton concert May last year. And the direction I was trying to go, which was around Atlanta, would have taken a little bit longer, but I was going around Atlanta. I didn't want to go through Atlanta. But I saw, oh, there's major road work going on up there. The concert's in a few hours. It's probably going to slow me down big time before I can't even get to my hotel in a decent time. No! I hated every second I was on. I don't even remember the road. I don't care. It's Atlanta traffic. I was white knuckle holding my wheel that entire time. I did not like being there. And I imagine Los Angeles isn't much better.
Arizona isn't all sunshine and rainbows in the driving department either. When I was learning to drive as a teenager, my mom told me to never honk at people no matter what because there's a chance they'll just shoot me. But because of the sheer volume of people on California roads all the time, it is a completely different beast. And every single one of them is driving to go kick babies because they hate their fellow man. Compassion does not exist on the California freeway. And by that, I mean blinkers. You know, the very helpful and necessary communication
yeah, they're
tool
required.
That tells people you'd kindly like to move into the lane. It's a sign of weakness here. If you even think about turning your blinker on, every single car in your vicinity will speed up and refuse to let you merge because they cannot handle the idea of a different car being in front of them. How can they get to their destination faster if a car that was in front of them in a different lane suddenly shifts to the side 12 feet? People will go out of their way to merge into the lane just to speed past you and spit on your windshield. When I turn my...
You know, I don't think that's hyperbole. I fully believe her when she says that happens. I really do. California is that type of place. From everything that I've seen, it does something to people.
Blinker on, which I still do because I refuse to let this barbaric driving culture corrupt me.
Good,
A car will speed up and then merge in front of me. If you need to be in my lane and I need to be in yours, we literally have to stay at our same speeds and shift. It's simple. There's no point in you blocking my merge just to merge into my lane anyway. Oh my god, it pisses me off so much. They do it all the time. If I had no money and got $1 every single time someone took advantage of my blinker,
rich.
I'd have enough money to move out of this godforsaken state. One time I
do it! Do it! Free yourself from the hellhole, Jaiden, please! For your sanity!
Turned my blinker on, checked my blind spot, and in the amount of time it took for me to look back at the road and start merging, a car way behind me had sped up so fast that my car's auto detection had to cut my merge off so I wouldn't hit them. And then that car honked at me! I will kill us both. All right, the drivers suck, but at least I'm only going a few miles. Not only am I forced to drive alongside these bozos, I'm forced to drive alongside them for way longer than I should need to. The traffic is so genuinely bad, I daydream of becoming a better sprinter to arrive at places quicker because it is genuinely.
At that point, just get a dirt bike and off-road it. At that point would be faster, but then you probably have cops. Oh, you can't do that. Yeah, well, tell all this line of assholes over here to stop being dicks.
Genuinely not far from the realm of realism. Either that or get one of those monster snowplow attachments. I mean, seriously, 10 miles? I should not be in the car longer than 20 minutes. Everyone here loves driving 30 over the speed limit anyway. I don't even know what the holdup is. Also, a little tip. If you wanted to find a place to park when you get to your destination, you shouldn't even be driving in the first place. Parking doesn't exist here, it's a myth and a lie. 95% of all locations have 0 parking lots. There's never street parking, and if you happen to be a lucky enough soul to find a spot, you can't slow down to parallel park into it because people are either gonna yell at you for clogging the lane or ram into your bumper. It's just an evil trick. So
that's the point you pull out the shotty and tell them to back off. If California didn't, enforce very unconstitutional laws. But, when it comes to the driving portion, at least, that might be why that aspect. Still not constitutional, but when it comes to road rage, I quite understand it. But, yeah. If I ever go to LA and I know I have to drive, I'm going to try to get somebody to hook me up with a freaking tank. Not tank as in a big bulky truck. No. I am going to try to get a literal retired combat tank to take on the freeway. That way, if anybody says anything, I could just turn the turret around and go, you got something to say? And they just have to, no choice but to back off because they know I'm packing more than they do.
your only choice is to find a parking garage that costs like $20. One time, my friends and I drove to a one-piece live symphony at the Dolby Theater and decided to park in its parking garage. Oh, what an obvious mistake. Do you want to know how long it took us to get out of that garage after the show when everyone was leaving?
Eons.
2.5 hours! We parked in the designated parking garage for a show and paid 2.5 hours of our life on top of real life money. So what if you don't have a car? Then you don't have to deal with any of this, right? Well, you can't walk anywhere. What do you think this is? Any other country? You could get a bike or a motorcycle, but again, with the quality of drivers around, you might as well play Russian roulette every time the wheels touch asphalt. Maybe with the right setup and some expendable funds, you could just get around with rideshare apps. But man, getting an Uber is so expensive out here. It might as well be considered a luxury in itself. If you're
forget door dashing at that too. Nothing's gonna be on time. At that point, it'd be wiser to invest in a helicopter. You just fly over the traffic. Then you probably have air traffic control going, hey, what are you doing? You fix your damn road system, then maybe you won't have this problem.
Taking an Uber either to or from the LAX airport, I guarantee it'll cost at least $100. And the drivers don't get like any of that, by the way. Once I had a driver complain to me about the ride rates the whole trip, which was not asked for to begin with. He said he had a client once trying to go to LAX and they were being charged $100, like I said, but the driver was only gonna get $30 from the trip. So he offered to charge $80 cash for them to do it outside the app as a win-win. Don't ever take this type of offer, kids. That was incredibly dangerous. But that's just where the landscape of Uber is here. Also, fun little tip. Never tell any drivers the place you're going to or from is your actual home. This is for everywhere, not just California. Sure, if they ask, it's normally small talk, but when it's not, you're in danger. Yikes. Now that guy won't leave your driveway. And the police say they can't do anything because he hasn't actually committed a crime yet. Just lie and say it's a friend's place or something. It's not worth the gamble, and lying to strangers is fun. That was a free survival hint from your friendly neighborhood YouTuber.
That just further reinforces... This just further reinforces... LA sucks! Friggin'... Why would anybody willingly live there?
That one in the back of your pockets. Speaking of LAX, because I
did read some before we go much further, I did read some comments before going into it to see what kind of vibe the video. Somebody made a comment saying, yeah, my grandmother once told me that if anybody, either the mom or the grandma, whichever, if anybody is going to pick you up from LAX, it is a true expression of love. If they are not being paid to do it, that shows they truly care about you. I believe it.
Up earlier. That place is actual hell on earth. If someone gets sent there after death, I would consider it a viable punishment for being a bad person. But innocent people are forced to be subjected to it every single day, and it's inhumane. You have every single asshole with a plane ticket in the entire city and beyond enter through the same stupid entrance, forced to drive through the same loop bumper to bumper until they get to their specific gate. No branching paths, no attempts to categorize the types of arrivals, just a single slaughterhouse line like cattle. But in normal slaughterhouse lines, the cattle don't hate each other. I was talking about bad merging before.
I've actually got something to say about LAX. She said it's hell on earth. Is she specifically talking about this one aspect of it, or is she talking about the airport in general? Probably the airport in general, because she said everybody's an asshole there. Oh boy, I've got a 4-hour layover there soon. Lord, give me strength.
It is legitimately survival of the fittest in the LAX horseshoe. Absolutely no one will let you merge lanes ever unless you threaten to fist fight them right there on the concrete. One time I sat with my blinker on in traffic that was not moving for 15 minutes straight, and a dude still refused to let me start merging once cars started inching forward. I had to sit there making direct eye contact with him until he was uncomfortable enough to let me get in front of him. It is personal. I am not the same person when I'm in the LAX horseshoe.
I don't think anybody is. This is like the closest to Mad Max on Earth.
None of us are. Some dudes in the 1960s decided they wanted everyone that ever planned to visit LA to suffer instantly when they got here. And they simply got away with it. I've spent so much time talking about traffic and the airport. I haven't even talked about living in LA yet. Well, that part sucks too.
Oh man, it is not all sunshine and it ain't all sunshine and daisies in California. So just reinforcing everything I thought about the place. Never living there.
Everything is so absurdly expensive here, it's almost comedic. Almost. Maybe raise the prices of food like $10 more and I'll start to chuckle. No, a burrito's like $40. I haven't even had food out here that's blown my mind. Sure, it's not bad, but when eating out can get this expensive, I expect something more to write home about. There are some really fancy restaurants around, but I shouldn't have to spend even more money to eat a meal that makes me go, wow, I will remember this. It's become a common pastime for some people to pull up Zillow and look at all the really crazy expensive multi-million-dollar mansions, fantasizing about what they would do if they were to live in the craziest of homes. But the equivalent of that for me and my friends here is to look at normal homes that are just not in California. Oh, look at that one! 3-bed, 2-bath for like $2,500 a month. That's insane.
California, fix your shit.
Here, the same thing can go upwards of $7,000. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very lucky and fortunate enough to not have to worry about finances as much. I can afford to live in a more expensive place here. It's not gonna break my bank. But at the same time, I'd like to still be relatively smart with money. Sure, I tend to splurge on plushies and trinkets. Haha, Jaiden's buying another Miku figure. But outside of that stuff, I'm really not spending money on anything else. I'm not into luxury cars or clothes or any of that type of culture.
Smart.
It's trinkets, plushes, and admittedly, a little too much DoorDash.
How long does the DoorDash take? That's my question. Horrible traffic in LA. How bad is the DoorDash? Oh boy. Also, a lot of designer clothing brands is just a flat-out scam. If something like Supreme goes for like, I don't even know, full disclosure, I don't know how much those stupid shirts sell for, but all it is a white shirt with a red logo on it. Supreme, cost you this much money. I could get a shirt without the logo for less than half the dollar amount spent on that. That's stupid, and it'd be the same material and everything. Total scam.
But I have a job that I can perform literally anywhere in the entire world. And I'm sitting here wasting extra costs on living in one of the most expensive cities in America. It feels bad. And I don't know if you picked up on it yet, but I don't even really like it here all that much. So why? Why do I choose to burn extra money just to exist?
That's what I would like to know.
The single reason is all of my friends are here, and I'd happily shovel extra funds into a giant furnace to be near them, because that's what makes a place feel like a true home. But all of my friends are also content creators that can work anywhere too, and if we all just banded together and decided to move somewhere else, that would sure be swell. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time, coordination, and resources to try and figure out an entirely new place to move a giant friend group of people. So we've essentially soft-locked ourselves here until we can all agree it's time to get out of here.
Agree now. Save yourselves from hell. Agree now. You could move back to Arizona for crying out loud, Jaiden. Move to somewhere that's not as hot. And yes, I know that sounds like an impossibility, but my understanding is the more northern parts of Arizona are a little bit milder. So somewhere like, I don't even know. Full disclosure, I don't know Arizona geography very well. I know just somewhere more northwards. You know, it's a state over. Or go up, or go further up. Sorry, go further up in the state of California, even if you want things to be slightly more sane. Like, I know I wouldn't go to San Francisco. They got shit in the sidewalks. Want to see that all the time? But somewhere more mild, more sane feeling. Yeah, y'all friends need to talk.
I'll give LA some credit. The main thing that makes it great is the fact that everything is always happening here. There's always some sort of fun event going on. Concerts, tours, random pop-ups. I went to a live screening of the season 2 finale of Severance where the cast got to talk about it afterwards, and that was one of the coolest experiences of my life so far. You name it, it is happening in California. Truly, you will never be bored here if you're always looking for something to do, and I recognize that is incredibly valuable. But at the same time, It means there's always tourists visiting, and Los Angeles is a very disgusting city for tourists to visit. It smells like pee all the time. The tourist trap areas are so trashy. There's constant crowds everywhere you go. When it rains, the pee smells even worse. Every once in a while, I need to go into the city for some reason or another, and those are bad days. Also, if you want to see all these cool things, you don't have to live in California to begin with. In fact, living here only desensitizes me to all the awesome stuff constantly around. Back when I first moved, I was really close to Disneyland.
It kind of like what I was saying, like if you, kind of like what I said, I would go there once, do as much as I feasibly could, all the stuff that I really wanted to do within probably a week. And I say a week because I know the traffic would cut out half of that time. But, yeah, do about a week's worth of stuff with traffic sucking the soul out of you every second you're on the freeway. And then after that, call it good there and go. I would never live there or stay there for a year.
And for the entire 2 years I spent over there, I only went to the alleged happiest place on earth a single time because of a friend's birthday. That's more of a personal experience though. I know plenty of people who have yearly passes to Disney or Universal who go to them all the time. But for me, I always just think, I can go there anytime, so maybe later.
Yeah. Really, the only time I've been to Disney was the one in Florida. I've been to Disney World. I've been to 2 different locations. And, you know, in Disney World, Florida, there are 5 different parts. And I'm sure something similar is at Disneyland. But Disney World, you've got the Animal Kingdom. You've got Epcot. Yeah, Epcot. You've got Magical Kingdom. And a couple other stuff. I have been to Epcot. That was a fun experience doing that around the world thing, seeing all the different cultures on display, seeing the different regions, like the food options, stuff like that. You know, that was a very cool experience. And then the scientific stuff, like, pretty cool. And then I've been to Magical Kingdom. And that was a lot of fun. That was an overall fun day, a solid experience. I got to ride the Pirates of the Caribbean ride and just do a bunch of stuff there. And it was overall a good experience. And then there's the Disney World Plaza, which I think, or the shopping area. It's an area that's all about Disney stuff, like a lot of stores and whatnot and some restaurants, but you don't have to pay to get admission to this area. You could just go in and then go to whichever store you wanted to and stuff like that. It has some Disney stuff that you can do. They have official Disney shirts and stuff. I bought a Hades shirt from there when I went to that place. I also got a set of Disney Halloween glasses. That was pretty cool. Something like that, you know, seems a lot more sane to me to go to that one as opposed to the one in LA. But anyways, I'm going back to it.
And then later is multiple years. I consider it a privilege to be able to live in LA. It's expensive. A lot of people dream of coming here and making it big. And if you can afford it, you can definitely live luxuriously. But I am just really not built for all that. I grew up in a tiny desert town with like no people in it and prefer to be holed up in my house 90% of the time watching YouTube until my brain is mush.
Me.
However, as much as I want to uproot everything again to live somewhere else less expensive and more compatible with my preferred lifestyle, I do think LA is a good place for me to be right now. Both the YouTube and animation industry are here. I don't need to travel for most of the events I get invited to. And content creators are always visiting for something or another, so I get to meet a lot of fellow creative friends. I can't say any...
Was that Scott the Woz? Hold on.
Something or another, so I get to meet a lot.
By God, that's Scott the Woz. Have you collaborated with Scott? I would like to see that collaboration.
Of fellow creator friends. I can't say anywhere else in the world can offer all these benefits that specifically apply to me right now And it's also just a lot of fun. I might not exactly like it, but LA is my home for at least the next few years, and I do get to have a lot of fun here with my friends. It's a toxic relationship, I suppose, but I'm sure in a decade when I'm somewhere else and reminiscing on the past, I'll have very fond memories of it all. So I can complain all I want while I'm here, but deep down, I know California has been such a huge part of the most defining years of my life, and I'll hold a very special place for it in my heart for a long time. LAX and the drivers are just excluded from it, though. I'll hate those parts forever. I posted a little video, but if you missed it, we're selling tostada merch for the first time ever because everyone begged and pleaded for it. Please go check it all out. I think everything turned out so silly and good, and she's only available until September 7th. And here's a picture of her for the people who stayed till the end of the video. Okay, bye-bye.
The glowing eyes. Okay. Oh, I forgot about that new, Scott the Waz. Speaking of Scott. Yeah. Yeah. Anywho. I am gonna have to call it there. There's not much more I can say about it that I haven't already made very clear. You couldn't pay me to live there. You know, it's not gonna happen. But I'm glad that Jaiden, despite all the pain and suffering and inconvenience of living in a place like that has caused her, that for the moment she's still willing to put up with it because of her friends and because it's convenient for her enough in the YouTube content creation aspects of it. So, you do you, Jaiden. I hope the fond memories stick through well enough when you do eventually decide to leave. Well, I'm going to wrap it up here. What did you guys think? What are your thoughts on LA? Let me know in the comments down below. Like if you enjoyed, comment what your favorite part of this reaction/story was. Subscribe if you're new and tap the bell to get notified whenever I upload a video so you don't miss any reactions, gameplay, or otherwise from me. Also, go check out my Discord. Link is in the description. Come join, we will talk, post memes, songs, videos, artwork. You can self-promote your own stuff and just have some fun. This has been Lance Block 30, signing off.